Welcome back to Let's Talk News Now. I'm Rick Singer. I grew hair. Oh, sorry, this is Rick's show. Today we're going to talk about some boring thing that you folks don't care as much as we do about.
You know, here's the absolute fun part about it. Somebody just asked me, says, why isn't you have Lester on? For that reason.
Yeah.
Exactly for this reason.
I thought it was because of my political knowledge.
Of course.
The thing is, I just thought it was for your wit and your charisma.
And political knowledge.
Thank you. Keisha, what do you think? Can I replace him next week?
Yeah.
He's out of here. He's absolutely out of here.
Sorry, back to you, Rick. Hello.
Back to Rick.
Chatting.
So the question I have is this. In talking a few minutes ago about the executions and so on and so on, it was really to ask, is this going to become now the next big political issue? Is this going to become the great divide on things like states' rights, federal rights, going back to the Constitution? I always love Barack Obama because when he goes to the Constitution when it's convenient, right? He goes to the Constitution. No, he goes to the Constitution when it's convenient because when it comes to such things as same-sex marriage, he goes, well, there's nothing in the Constitution that identifies what marriage is.
This year,
two people can enter into a contract as long as they're both consenting adults. Marriage is a contract, so on and so on. So he goes, but now when it comes to this, I know he's like,
Speed it up, Rick.
But now when it comes to this, it's all right. Under the Constitution, executions are only allowed under federal law. If you're looking at the Bill of Rights and the amendments and so on, and that is that there is.
Let me ask you something. Rick, let me ask you something.
High crimes and treason is the other qualification.
Let me ask you something. How do you feel about it? I mean, say somebody you knew personally was killed. How do you feel about it?
You know that's tough because the thing is, without having experienced it, you can only anticipate what you would feel. My thing has always been fundamentally two wrongs don't make a right. I personally think that there's actually more involved. Everybody's going to die someday. So personally, I'd rather have the individual incarcerated indefinitely without possibility of parole, and that becomes their niche in life to do nothing but think about and ponder for the rest of their life.
They don't see it that way. That's why the night before a trial will happen, they'll try to plea. That's why they'll always try to plea and say, fine, I'll admit that I did it, just stop, just give me life in prison instead of the death penalty.
Okay.
So they don't see it that way.
You also do wonder, though, because many people whose families get killed or somebody that they love, they would like to do it themselves, which then starts off a whole chain of something.
In '93, my mother-in-law, which I worked at their store before we got married, was shot and killed, gang violence. So I've been pretty connected to it.
See, so you would have a totally different perspective.
And I had a different perspective. And you know what? It's just nowadays, even if they get the death penalty, they're around for another 10 years. We're paying for it.
At least.
It's just sometimes it was better back in the 1880s. All right. They probably made more mistakes, but we have DNA now. But why does it have to take so long?
And cost so much.
And even when
they get one appeal, guaranteed.
Right.
You know.
And even if it's not that person, it still takes so long for them to get out of jail because it's so much that goes into it. So it does make you wonder: is it worth it? So.
I think the mistakes are the rarity in this, though. You know, the mistakes are the rarity. Usually, there is pretty solid evidence for not only a jury of your peers to convict you, but then to sentence you.
Especially nowadays with all the technical DNA that they didn't have 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I will say this. One thing I've noticed, and I know everybody else has caught on to it, and that is that the more and more juries are requiring what they refer to as the CSI aspect to it.
Right.
A lot of people feel as though the Casey Anthony case, the reason she was released is because they could never get that big CSI information.
Well, they never have the right sets because the CSI sets are so cool.
And the evidence happens like that.
So boring. Yeah, okay, the courtroom. You seen a courtroom on TV that looks boring? No.
That's true.
But you know, because like you're saying, if you, in my opinion,
Table
if you're
12
going
over
to
there.
continue with execution as a form of punishment, then you absolutely should have the concrete. It should not be able to be built on a theory or something speculative.
Right.
Which a lot of prosecutions do take place upon the prosecutor's theory of the events. And then if you can substantiate that with something concrete, then I mean you're good.
I think there's
like your
a theory of
pontification on
events
this one.
that
You do?
connect the evidence.
What's that?
I think a prosecution is composed of a theory of events that connect the evidence. You know, they have this evidence laid out. They have to connect how that evidence got there.
Right.
So.
But isn't it, I'm just asking in theory, isn't it quite possible to take the same facts and create a whole other scenario?
Ouch.
it always ends in that person died.
Okay.
Right.
And it always ends in your DNA is there or it's not there.
I'm just saying. All right.
Just saying.
It's been a lot of fun.
Believe it or
for
not,
6 a.m.
This is going to be one of those things. So I'm just getting on this. Yes or no? Is it going to be a political issue this year?
I don't think this year, but it will be.
Yes or no?
If it can
No.
get votes, it will be.
I don't think that's the it. You know, it's all the economy. I think it's all the economy. Everything else is
all needs to be the
substandard.
We're going to take a short break, and we come back. We got more on Let's Talk News Now.
Throw it to the actor. Throw it to the actor.
So we can do like the music and
Get up and do Ringo.
Okay, so here's the thing: is we're going to like arm wrestle on this.
All right, let's move the tables and act like the Beatles. Come on. Stand up. Deep ball.
This is what we do at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Out of work. Okay.
Too much.